Hello. So you've been collecting blueprints and blueprint fragments, but aren't sure how they work or what you do with them, or maybe you think you know, but you may be slightly off and you may be wasting your blueprint fragments. So let's get into this video and show you exactly how to use them. Alright, so the first thing we're going to go over real quick is your disassembly bench. Just real quick, if you know how, under weapons, when you collect these weapons that you can't repair, these are just things you can gather out in the world. If you notice, they have some of them have this paper symbol with an arrow on it. If they have this, you can put them in the disassembly bench and they will give you mods back. So like if we were to disassemble this, we would get a calibration blueprint heavy melee, which would allow us to change out calibrations on our melee weapons. So we could add in like hard striker style if we would like from this. So if you notice, if I break this gun down, we don't get a calibration blueprint. But if we break this one down, we will get one here that has stabilized style. And if you notice, they have a specific type of style on these calibrations. So like this one can only be used on machine guns. So I couldn't calibrate a sniper rifle with this. All right, so if we want to use these calibration blueprints from other weapons we've gotten, you notice here I have range plus 12, accuracy plus 6, weak spot damage plus 6%, and elemental damage plus 6%. All right, if I were to calibrate it all the way up to here. But if we replace the calibration attributes, it's going to replace all of them. So if I select this one, now we get stability and aim reduction, shake reduction. Weak spot damage is 7.7%, and then instead of elemental damage, we get 12.12% weak spot damage. But if you notice, it's going to also consume 500 Stardust. Unless you're really farming Stardust and have a lot of it, I don't recommend doing this unless it's a decent change to your weapon. Now, but what you're here is for the blueprint fragments, right? So let's go into our inventory here. All right, so once you're under blueprints, there's a couple of things you need to know here. If it's like this with no puzzle piece here, you have it. It's like one you can craft. If it has a puzzle piece but it's white, it means you don't have the fragments to craft it. And the puzzle piece is yellow. So let's see if we can find one of those. Here we go. Means you have enough fragments to craft it. So I have 40 of these blue tiger fragments. So I could click on this. I can hit fuse, which is F, and it will combine these fragments into a blue tiger for me. And if you notice, I can't use the blue tiger fragments on anything else in the same category. So you may be tempted, like, oh, well, I don't have the fragments, won't work on anything else. I'll just go ahead and upgrade all of these so that I have access to all these blueprints on the next season. That would be a mistake. That would burn through your fragments that you could actually use on another gun. All right, so if we come over here and look, under current blueprint fragments, we have what's called Huntsman. We have 213 of those. Wanderer, we have 260 of those. Operator, 180. Juggernaut, 100. Beyonder and Stranger, none, which is unfortunate because some of my favorite weapons are in the Stranger category. Alright, so if you look, you can click here, Blueprint Fragments. Alright, it does this. So under Huntsman, it tells us what we have. We have 60 of 40 on this melee fragment, 80 of 40 on this bow, and 60 of 60 on this Black Panther. So using this blueprint locked and unlocked here, you can see quickly what your fragments are for, what weapons they're for. All right, another thing you can check when you're going through your blueprints here is, look, this pistol says Wanderer, this one says Beyonder, this one says Beyonder. So it has, in the bottom left of the blueprint, it'll tell you what style it is as well. So here we have a old Huntsman blueprint shotgun. Right, as you notice, we have 213 fragments. So what we'll do is we'll go into this. Right, so we'll right-click for detail, right-click for details. Opens it up. As you see under Blueprint Unlocked, we have 13 frags, so it's going to show that we have 13 pieces for this specific gun, actually. So we could use these, but remember, we have these guns that are locked. So this one, we could, if we spent these points on it, we would unlock this rifle. But if we don't like this rifle, or for instance, we don't like this bow, we can click on this and check it out. We can use its fragments to make this gun stronger. Right, and as you notice, we have this gun can go up 4 total levels. And the better the weapon is, the more levels it can go up over here. And the higher this is, the better its stats are. This is how you would enhance your weapons to give them stats. So you may not want to be burning all of your fragments, just unlocking weapon after weapon. Instead, find a weapon you really like, find the fragments for that weapon, and just put them all into the weapon. And remember, you have to go through the Blueprint Unlocked and Blueprint Locked tabs to find all of your fragments. And if you want to know what's possible on each weapon before you even start tiering them up, when you go into this screen here from right-clicking on the weapon, you can just hit T to here, see tier preview, and it'll pull up here. Tier 1, 2, 3, and 4 for this weapon specifically. Alright, and then some weapons have higher tiers, some lower. But this will tell you kind of what you're going to get and what the improvements are going to be. Same thing with armor, right? And if we look at Blueprint Locked, as you notice, it uses armor fragments and not our weapon fragments. So our armor and weapon fragments are kept separate, so you don't have to worry about that. So if you want to find a set of armor you like, the same thing goes as the weapons. Find the frags you can use for it and upgrade the armor using those, rather than unlocking more pieces of gear that you're never going to use. Alright, another thing you need to be aware of is when you're going through the armor, let's say you have a helmet in here you like, or a set of armor you like, but you want to know where to get them. It's like if we, for instance, like the Renegade set. Right, well, the Renegade helmet here tells you how to get it. So there's description, and then right under it says how to get. It says obtain from wish machine. And that means we can only get its fragments from the wish machine. So this helmet's going to have to be luck. So it actually looks like all legendary helmets are going to be from the wish machine. But let's say, for instance, you like the raid. Okay, well, let's say you like the heavy-duty armor set. Well, the heavy-duty helmet can be obtained from mystical treasures in the Chalk Peak. So what you would do is you would find the Chalk Peak region, which is kind of on the west coast here, and you would go through and you would collect the mystical chest in all of these towns. But there's only a chance of getting it in the Chalk Peaks from one of these. It's the only way to get it, but it's not guaranteed. I could end up getting something else instead. So the next season, I would have to check in the Chalk Peaks for mystical crates again, assuming that the information doesn't change throughout the next season. And so for every season, to get the full gear set you want, it's going to require several playthroughs of several seasons. So certain weapons may not be possible to tier all the way up. So that may cause us to have to readjust on what weapons we are going to be using, no matter which ones we actually prefer, based on what we can actually rank up during this season. So the idea is that you would play multiple seasons to get them all and collect the blueprint fragments to slowly bring your gun up to the maximum level. Well, I hope that saves you some fragments and you learned something in this video. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. Have an awesome day.